Hello there. My name is Nick Chellsen, and I am the author of A Leader Worth Imitating 33 Leadership Principles from the Life of Jesus. It's been just over a year since I released this book, and I'm very grateful to everyone who has bought it, read it, rated it, and reviewed it. If you haven't read it yet, or you're wanting a quick refresher, I'm going to summarize it now in this video. The Bible tells us that Jesus was perfect. 1 Peter 2:22 reads, "He committed no sin, and no deceit was found in his mouth." Because Jesus was perfect, we can conclude that his leadership was also perfect. So by looking at the 33 years of his life, we can see what it truly means to be a leader. And that's what this book is all about. How Jesus led and how we can lead just like him. This book is broken up into 33 chapters. Each chapter is about 3 or 4 pages and covers one leadership principle. I discuss each principle by looking at an example from Jesus' life in the Bible. In addition to this, I share how that principle played a role in his leadership, as well as how it can help you be a better leader. I also end each chapter with 3 application questions to help the reader apply the principles to their life and leadership. You can read this book a couple of different ways. You can read it in the order it was written. Even if some of the principles don't pertain to you and your leadership, you will see how all 33 work together. And since there are 33, you could treat this book like a daily devotional and read one a day. Alternatively, you could also read this book out of order. By browsing the table of contents, you can select which principles are currently the most relevant to you and your leadership, and you can read about those. While there are 33 leadership principles in this book, there are 5 specific ones that I want to cover in this video. You could think of these as pillar principles. While I don't refer to them this way in the book, these are principles that get referenced throughout it. The first principle I discuss in the book is purpose. A leader's purpose is the reason why he leads. He might call it his goal, his cause, or his mission. A leader might also say it's what gets her up in the morning. It's the reason behind everything that she does. In this book, I argue that the purpose of Jesus' leadership was to reconcile humanity's relationship with God. We see this in the covenants of the Old and the New Testament, as well as the New Covenant that Jesus started with his death and resurrection. Throughout the book, I explain how the leadership decisions that Jesus made were rooted in his purpose to reconcile humanity's relationship with God. Another principle that I discuss is team. While many of us might idolize the idea of do-it-yourself leadership or idolize Lone Ranger leaders, this really isn't an accurate way to view leadership. You might do a lot of things well. However, you can't do everything by yourself. You need help. When we look at the leadership of Jesus, we see that he had a team. His team was made up of his 12 disciples: Simon Peter, Simon the Zealot, James, James the Younger, John, Andrew, Philip, Bartholomew, Matthew, Thomas, Judas Thaddeus, and Judas Iscariot. The funny thing is, if there was one leader who didn't need a team, it was Jesus. He was the perfect leader after all. He could have done everything by himself if he wanted to. However, despite his perfection, he showed us the value of having a team. Another principle I discuss is inspiration. There are 2 reasons why someone might follow a leader. 1, obligation, or 2, inspiration. Obligation is when you have to follow a leader. Inspiration is when you want to follow a leader. When we look at the leadership of Jesus, we see that he inspired his team. An example of this is when he first called his disciples in Luke 5:1-11. If you're familiar with the story, you'll remember that this is when they caught so many fish that the nets almost broke and the boat almost sank. Peter is inspired by this miraculous sign, and Jesus told the men that if they follow him, he will make them fishers of men. The story ends with them abandoning their nets and following Jesus. Another principle I discuss is expectations. Setting expectations is about helping your team know what they need to do. When we look at the leadership of Jesus, we see that his disciples knew what was expected of them. An example of this is when Jesus instructs them to take up their crosses. Luke 9-23 reads, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me." There are two ways to think about the cross in this passage: physical and spiritual. A physical cross is the death of our bodies. A spiritual cross is the death of our will. In addition to this, you can only take up a physical cross once. However, you need to take up your spiritual cross every single day. Being a Christian isn't easy. It requires us to die daily to our will. As a Christian leader, the work you do and the work your team does is also not easy. However, it is your responsibility to not only set expectations, but to model expectations. Another important principle I discuss is sacrifice. It can be easy to focus on what your purpose gives you. However, there will come a point when you have to give your purpose something. To fulfill your purpose as a leader, you will have to make sacrifices. When we look at the leadership of Jesus, we see that he made sacrifices to fulfill his purpose. There is no better example of this than in his crucifixion. When Jesus uttered his famous last words, "It is finished," he was not referring to his life being finished. Rather, he was referring to his purpose being finished. Through Jesus' crucifixion, we see that he sacrificed his life to reconcile humanity's relationship with God. As Christian leaders, we will also have to make sacrifices to fulfill our purpose. While we might not sacrifice our lives, we can live sacrificially for those that we lead. By doing so, we can practically imitate both the purpose and the sacrifice of Jesus. While those are 5 pillar principles of a leader worth imitating, I also share 28 other principles. I discuss the importance of being present with those that you lead, allowing your team to make mistakes, being creative and innovative, having empathy, and leaving a legacy, just to name a few more. As you learn how to imitate the perfect leader, you will find yourself becoming a better leader for yourself, your family, your community, your workplace, and even your church. So that's the book. If you liked this summary and the ideas that I talked about in this video, I would encourage you to check it out. And if you've already read the book, I'd really appreciate it if you sent this video to someone who you think would enjoy it or find it meaningful. You can find links to purchase the book on my website at nickchellsen.com. Or if you're still on the fence, you can download a free excerpt on my website as well. Thank you so much for watching.